Right, I've been meaning to make this video for a little while now. It's been too hot in here though, so it took me a while to get around to doing this. But I just wanted to do a quick video on something you guys might not be aware of, but it's fairly straightforward and easy to do. If you have a CB or a radio or anything really with a knob missing, it's fairly easy to design and 3D print replacements. Now, some of these old radios, it's now getting very hard to get parts for them, and a lot of the people that want that are selling scrap chassis and things, they want a lot of money for them. And so I came up with this idea. This was one of the first radios I tried this on, was the Kenwood. Now, when I got this radio from Mick, it came like that with the knob missing, and obviously not ideal, really quite tricky. You can't actually even grab onto the spindle of the knob there to do anything with it. So it was a bit of a deal breaker really as far as using the radio goes, and I had to pay literally £17. I was lucky enough to find a new knob on eBay there but it cost £17. It came from Italy to make the replacement. Now, looking around, you're actually getting much harder now to find parts, particularly for the older sets and the older CB radios, which are approaching 40 years old now. And so, with a little bit of careful measuring using the old vernier calipers, I produced this. Right, which is very, very close to the original knob, and obviously the colours are pretty close, a little bit lighter. But I mean, you know, it's better than no knob at all, and I was quite impressed really. Once it's on the actual set, it's really hard. You know, obviously there is a difference, and in fact I haven't made it slightly as domed as that one there, but it's so different as to make no difference really. And if you obviously wanted them to match, you could also remove the original knob and just 3D print another button to match it. And that would work quite well if you had a set where you didn't have any knobs on there, which you do see on eBay, and you can design and 3D print your own knobs. Now, my Midland 3001 has got the I've shown it. I have to remove the knob there to actually to make a copy of it, and I got pretty close. I mean, there's the original. So we can get this to focus. There's the original knob, and it does have this metal band around it, and I produced this, which, okay, it's never going to be an exact copy of the original, but you know, it's near enough that it makes absolutely no difference. And you don't have to go madly to town. If you notice on the inside of these, they do come with the little ribs there, which can be problematic to print at that size, but I found that as long as you make the diameter of this a nice snug fit, just simply pushing them on to the actual radio is enough for them to make their own grooves, if you like, in the side of it, and they stay nicely affixed to the radio there. And I think you'd agree that, you know, that's better than no knob, isn't it? All I did there was just use one of these those metallic paint markers, you know, to put the rim. Did it really rough actually, just rushed it just for the video. And you know, a lot of these knobs, they fade differently, and also I've seen a lot of radios listed with knobs off different sets where they're colorized differently anyway. And again, you know, if you're using this day in day out, you could take the original knobs off, print these ones of all the same color, and it would look great. So you know, it's just I saw a Rotel RVC 230 the other day, and it had knobs on basically the same as this, so they'd replaced them all with shiny chrome knobs. So I mean, it's so much so it looks so different to the original Rotel that I actually didn't recognise it. I thought it was a new version. So, you know, I think this makes for a nice little trick, I suppose you could call it. Now, I think you'd have to be honest if you were selling the radio and you'd bought a chassis and you were using 3D printed knobs. I think you'd have to be honest and tell the person that that's what you've done. Whether that would affect their decision to buy it, I don't know. It may well do, but if it's your own radio and you're keeping it and you're not selling it, then I don't see that there's a problem. I'll quickly go through, I'll show you the printer that I use. If you haven't watched some of the videos, you might not know. And then I'll quickly go through and we'll design a knob very quickly from scratch on the software to show you just how easy it is. Right, now this is the printer that I use. This is the Ender 3D, made by a company called Creality. And this is a very popular printer, available for about, I've seen them as cheap as £200 in the UK. This is an entry-level printer but produces amazing results. I've upgraded the board on this unit for the 32-bit board, which gives me a lot of extra nice features, and it means I can produce some very good quality prints at you know, almost, well, probably rivaling some of the higher end 3D printers. So these can be picked up, like I say, for £200. So for your initial investment, you can get going and make all manner of things. If you've been watching the channel, you've seen I've made entire radios. And what I did do, let me just get the package. What I did do for a lovely chap called Steve, who sold me a Pi PF8 case, and he contacted me because he'd seen my B470 video where I built the entire radio. If you haven't seen that, check the channel. I built a walkie-talkie from scratch, and he asked if I had any PTT buttons. Now, for that radio, I didn't actually, because it wasn't an exact copy of a B470, I just printed a button that would fit my design. But so what I did was I broke open the B470, which we've got just over here. So this is your real radio, if you like. And by the way, some people seem to think that the red button means it's fire brigade and the yellow button means it was for the police. That isn't true. London Fire Brigade, there you can see on this one. So that's a bit of a misnomer that people get mixed up with. But anyway, yes, I made I took this head unit apart, made a few measurements for Steve, and then just recreated the button completely. Look, yellow PLA, and it's as near as makes no difference. Look, and stick that in because, you know, he just couldn't find someone willing to sell just the PTT button. I mean, it's probably a 40-year-old radio now. Everyone wants to sell the full unit, and of course they want obviously good money for them. So, and again, you know, if it's your radio and you're keeping it, I don't see that's an issue. And you know, if you sell it, it's down to you whether you're honest. But you could do the aerial. There are a number of things you could do on this if you really had to, if you really couldn't get the bits. So yeah, I just winged those off to Steve and he was very happy with that. So that's another example of what you can do, not just knobs, any real accessory for a radio you can 3D print. So let's choose off of one of the sets a knob and we'll quickly design it and we'll print it. Right, for total simplicity, the Thunderbolt T800, we have a spare one here with unfortunately a missing knob. Not really, I've just removed it, and I couldn't actually remove it off of my other T800. It seems to have been glued on or something. But you'll see on this particular one it's slightly different. It does have a slot, you can see that on the inside of it, to aid it turning, so it actually doesn't use the splines on the outside of the actual not the actual potentiometer there. It uses more of this combination really of just gripping the outside of it and then this slot in the middle. But I know from experience of doing the other ones that we should be okay just to make this a push fit, our example anyway. And of course it's not going to be a problem getting knobs and stuff for these radios. I'm just doing this as an example just to show you this nice simple design at first, how quickly and easily you can make an pretty much exact replica of this, as near as makes no difference anyway. So let's do some quick measurements and I'll show you what we do. I mean, basically, if you haven't got a set of these, why not? They're a £5. If you go for the digital ones off of eBay, these ones have had a very long time, and while they are very good quality ones, you can actually get really good results with just your cheap digital ones from eBay. Even plastic ones are fairly reasonable anyway. So I mean, what I've been doing on these basic knobs is just doing a basic sketch, and some of the knobs will have a taper to them. It's worth checking that out. On this, I don't know if you can see there, on this knob, it doesn't appear to have any taper to it. It seems to be a straight cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and take some basic measurements of this. I'm going to need to film that because it's pretty boring, and then we'll fire up the CAD program. We'll move over to the screen recorder and you can watch me designing this in real time on the software. Right, I decided to speed this up. The design software I use is called Design Spark. It's freely downloadable. I'll leave a link in the description. So we start to draw the base of the knob here. We measured the diameter of the original knob, and then we set the outside ring, the bezel at the bottom of the knob. We measured that at roughly 11 millimeters. Once you've got that basic shape, you can then start to pull it out into some sort of 3D shape. Again, measure the length of the knob, pull out the bezel height there from the bottom. It's simply a case of attaching those faces, and you can also then put your little chamfer on the bottom of it as well. Select the bottom of the knob. You might have to play around on your radio with the shaft sizes here, but I was just going to quickly show you if you needed to put splines on, how you do it using this rotary copy command here. And I know I'm whizzing through this, but it just shows you how easy it is to do this if your printer has the resolution to actually print the splines properly. But you shouldn't need to do that in most cases. Then just for the top of it, it's a simple case of dropping in a slight recess. My printer was good enough quality to actually print this, so I was quite pleased about that, because it's only about 0.5 millimeters, this little indent in the top of the button, but nevertheless it's a detail that I wanted to have on the button. As you can see there, I've also rounded off the top of the button there with a little rounded corner, and that's it. I mean, I think in all, if I run this in real time, it took about 15 minutes for me to design. Right, now we go to the menu on the printer, and we go down to print from media, and we called it T800. So if we click on refresh, T800 G codes right down the bottom there, we select that and we select print, and now if you've heard of 3D printers before, one of the advantages of this new board I fitted is it's silent. The only noise you can hear there are the fans, the cooling fans. This new board, this new control board, is made the stepper motors which drive the 3D printer absolutely silent now. So the only thing you can hear are those fans. It's quite incredible. It used to make quite a racket before. So if you've got an Ender 3, make sure you do the upgrade. Get the 32-bit board with the TMC silent drivers on it, because it's such a massive upgrade. And you also get a mesh bed leveling feature, which basically lets you electronically adjust the level on the bed and save that to offset the so you don't need to use the actual manual mechanical adjustment underneath the printer, and it makes such a difference because it allows for any variation. It remembers the, say my printer in the middle, it's a bit light, so it's a bit of a dip in the middle. But because this software now remembers that, you don't need any kind of probe or anything on it. So if you want to print big things like vases or cases, you don't get any poor quality printing or any kind of like gaps in the layers. So this is almost ready to go. I'm not going to show it print, it's going to be so quick. I'm literally in the next shot you'll just see it coming off the printer. And there it is. There we go. And that's perfect. There's the squelch adjustment. And I think you'd really have to go some to notice that there was any difference between that and the original control knob. That you enjoyed that and you might have found that useful. If you haven't already, please consider hitting the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. Take care.